All right, hello everybody and welcome. My name is Teresa. I'm a senior counselor here at Hofstra for Student Financial Services, and I'm going to talk to you today about funding your education here at Hofstra. So thank you all for joining today. I hope you're all staying well and healthy. First, I'd just like to start off by saying our first priority and our hope is that we can have an on-campus experience this coming fall. We are currently in contact with the state and local health authorities and taking guidance from our partners at Northwell to make these plans. However, if we do remain remotely with learning for the fall, I think we can use this semester as a guide for what will happen. Because students lived on campus for half the semester, half of the room and board expenses were refunded to them. Professors have been working tirelessly to make sure class remote learning has been seamless for our students, and we're hoping for the best. So hopefully we'll all be back on campus in the fall. All right, guys, so let's get started. So some of the topics we'll be covering today in this webinar, we will discuss different financial programs that are available to help finance the cost of a Hofstra education. Understanding your financial aid award letter, loan and payment options to help cover the gap between how much financial aid a student is awarded and how much billable costs are, as well as tips and resources to help guide you through this process. So we'll start off with what exactly financial aid is. Financial aid is a general term for all of the different sources of funding available to help finance the cost of an education. The three primary categories are federal work study, grants and scholarships, loans, and federal work study. Federal work study is where I will start today. It's a program for qualifying students, which allows the student to earn a paycheck. The money earned is not deducted from the tuition bill since students are paid directly in the form of a paycheck. These funds can be used for any expenses the student has along the way. Grants and scholarships is known as gift aid. This is funding that does not need to be paid back. This can be either awarded through the institution or through outside sources. Grants can also be institutional, federal, or state. The two federal grants are the federal Pell Grant and the federal SEOG grant. And then there is the New York State TAP application, which is available for New York State residents. Loans, which can be in the form of student loans or parent loans, can be repaid with interest after the student graduates or is no longer enrolled. Loan options include federal education loans, alternative or private loans, along with home equity loans. On this slide is an example of a resident's student's estimated cost of attendance, commonly referred to as a student budget. The cost of attendance combines the direct costs billed by the university as well as other college-related expenses. This allows Hofstra to determine exactly how much financial aid students can receive, especially for those looking to borrow funds. On your financial notification letter, there will be miscellaneous expenses, such as an estimate for books, supplies, and transportation costs. These expenses are not billed directly to the student. These are considered indirect costs. Tuition, fees, room, and a dining plan are costs that would be billed directly. The net cost, which is what Hofstra will bill, can be determined by subtracting all of the financial aid received from the tuition, fees, room, and dining. The financial aid on the right is a sample profile. Please refer to your financial notification letter on the portal for your own personalized information. A comparison of the direct costs for a commuter student or resident student would be just taking out the room and board fees. If you have any questions about your own individual financial notification letter, I would urge you to contact our office at 516-463-8000. And at the end, I'll be showing a slide where you can make an appointment with a financial aid counselor so we can go over each individual student. Next, we have our federal Stafford loans, otherwise known as subsidized or unsubsidized student loans. These are federal student education loans. The information on the FAFSA allows our office to determine whether a student is eligible for subsidized loans. The subsidized loan does not accrue interest while the student is in school. The unsubsidized loan, like most other loans, will begin to accrue interest while the student is in school. Neither of these loans need to be paid back while the student is in school. If you'd like to make payments towards the interest, you can with no penalties. However, it is not required. The student will also have a grace period 6 months after their graduation. The current loan rate at this time for the 2019-2020 school year is 4.53%. The new loan rates will typically come out in July. The annual borrowing limit is based on a student's year in college, determined by the number of credits earned. For a dependent freshman student who has earned 0 to 29 college credits has an annual limit of $5,500 per year. The maximum eligibility for subsidized loans would be $3,500. There is a loan fee that is assessed by the federal government, which is deducted from the disbursement. Like the interest rates, the origination fee percentage will be determined by July 1st. There is no penalty to prepay the interest, like I had mentioned before, or principal on these student loans. And repayment again begins 6 months after the student is no longer enrolled. Next, we have the federal parent loan. The Federal Parent Plus loan is a loan borrowed and repaid by the parent borrower of the dependent student. Eligible borrowers must be the student's biological or adoptive parent. There is no aggregate limit to the Federal Parent Plus loan, and the annual limit is the student's full cost of attendance, minus all of their other aids being received, as well as their own personal student loans. Parents may elect to begin repayment 60 days after the disbursement or defer payment until 6 months after the student is no longer enrolled. Like the subsidized and unsubsidized student loans, there is an origination fee that is deducted at the time of disbursement. The interest rate is fixed, and for this current aid year, it is fixed at a 7.08%. The new rates will again be available in July. Applications can be completed online through the Department of Education at studentaid.gov. This was formerly known as studentloans.gov. If you do type in studentloans.gov, it will defer you to studentaid.gov. We typically recommend that parents apply for this loan at least a month before a bill is due for processing. The way you would apply is logging in with your, as in the parent's FSA ID, to complete the Parent Plus loan application along with a master promissory note. Again, since this is a parent loan, this loan would be in the parent's name and not the student's. If the parent is experiencing credit issues for the Parent Plus loan, an endorser, which is like a cosigner, may be used to help overturn the credit decision of the loan. The endorser must request their own FSA ID and complete an endorser addendum by logging into studentaid.gov. For specific information about the credit check or step-by-step instructions, please contact the Department of Education phone number at 1-800-557-7394. So they may give you step-by-step assistance if you have questions for an endorser. For private and alternative loans, these are offered through banks or lenders that service their own education loans. Interest rates or other fees are set up by each specific lender and not by the government. While most lenders allow in-school deferment for both the interest and principal amount, some lenders may require interest payments while the student is in school. Students must be 18 in order to apply for private loans and have a credit-worthy cosigner. The cosigner does not have to be a parent, but usually required to be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. A great website to look at different private education lenders would be finaid.org. That way you can research different lenders and see which lender would be the right one for you. So payment. Aside from loans, there are various methods of payment that Hofstra accepts. Payments may be made online through our payment center that both students and the authorized user have access to. We recommend that students give their authorized users access right in the beginning. This can be done right on the student portal, and they can give a parent email so that way you have access to your own payment center. Payments may also be mailed directly to our office, but be sure that checks are mailed and sent at least 10 business days prior to the due date and include the Hofstra ID somewhere on the check. Paying online by web check is the quickest and most efficient way to have payments posted to a student's account. Payments may also be made in person by cash, check, bank check, or money order. At this time, credit cards can be used for deposits, such as the enrollment or housing deposits. Again, we urge that students make their parents or guardians an authorized user. As our billing statements are sent online, we do not have paper statements. We urge you to have your own login so that way you have access to the billing statement each month. We also have our monthly payment plan. If you would like to enroll in one of our payment plans, enrollment can be completed online through the payment center. Again, either by the student or an authorized e-bill user. Hofstra offers each semester plans, which is up to 5, that can be extended to 5 payments per semester for a total of 10 payments for the academic year. You can enroll in a payment plan as either an auto debit or non-auto debit option. The auto debit would automatically take the payment each month. Non-auto debit would mean you would make the payment each month. There is a one-time enrollment fee that is due each semester in the beginning of the fall semester and in the beginning of the spring semester. The fall term payments are June 25th through October 25th. You would then re-enroll in November for the spring payments, which would be November 25th through March 25th. And you can use a combination of loans and payment plan. It is entirely up to you. Some things to remember. Hofstra is a paperless billing institution, like I mentioned before. All bills are available to view on the Hofstra portal. Email notifications are sent each time a new statement is available, which is typically generated monthly. We encourage all students to authorize an e-bill user to ensure that each person assisting the student with his or her bill receives the statements when they are updated. Students can do this on their student portal under their payment center and authorize as many e-bill users as they would like. We recommend that students complete all loan requirements, which would be the entrance counseling and master promissory note for any federal government loans, at least 1 month before the bill is due. Be sure to submit any documentation or unsatisfied requirements to prevent any delay with the processing of financial aid. This could include documents needed for verification, proof of U.S. citizenship, or high school diploma for the TAP awards. The month of August is the final stretch heading into the start of the semester. Since bills are due the first week of August, we recommend finalizing other non-billing items before the start of the semester. For those interested in our tuition insurance plan, which allows families to receive a partial reimbursement of tuition costs paid out of pocket if a student needs to withdraw due to medical issues, please visit the website hofstra.edu/tuition insurance for more information on how to subscribe. For those students who are TAP eligible, you would need to complete proof of high school completion. August is also the time where student employment posts federal work-study and non-federal work-study positions. Be sure to have your resume ready and look for positions at hofstra.edu/jobs. Again, if your student is not eligible for federal work-study, they can still get a job on campus under non-federal work-study positions. And the tuition refund plan is also known as DUR tuition refund. Typically, it's a fee that is charged per semester. If you'd like to enroll in it, you would just have your student click on the option on their portal. If you're having trouble, you can always pay either the agency directly, or you can email bursar@hofstra.edu to add the charge to your bill. If you do see this on your bill and it's not something that you would like to utilize, you would have your student email bursar@hofstra.edu to have it removed prior to the first day of classes. So again, how do families fill this gap? How do families fill the gap between what is awarded? To conclude, there are various student and parent education loans and our in-house monthly payment plan. Families can combine any of these options to make Hofstra a more affordable option. No one option is required. Again, you can do a combination if you wanted to utilize the students' subsidized and unsubsidized student loans along with the payment plan, or their student loans along with a private loan or a federal loan, or just one of the options. You absolutely can do that, and we'll help you with it. For additional reminders, the FAFSA needs to be filed each year. It's always available on October 1st at fafsa.gov. And after you file your FAFSA, you'll also be able to file your New York State TAP application on the same day. Please note that the TAP application would need to be filed after a FAFSA has already been submitted. And if you have any questions during these processes, help is available to you. For specific FAFSA or federal information, you may visit studentaid.gov or contact 1-800-4FED-AID. HESC.ny.us is the official website for New York State financial programs. Hofstra Student Financial Services representatives are available in person when we're back on campus or during regular business hours. No appointment is necessary, and we are here to help. To schedule an appointment with a financial aid counselor regarding individual circumstances or to go over your personal financial notification letter, please use the link here to schedule an appointment so we can assist you. So now what I'm going to do is go through some questions. So a great question that I've been seeing popping up is, when do you apply for student loans? So you would start applying for student loans late May, early June for private or Parent Plus loans. If you're looking to do your student loans, like your subsidized and unsubsidized, you've already applied for them by doing the FAFSA. So you would just need to complete those loan requirements, which would be the entrance counseling and master promissory note. Another great question. For subsidized loans, interest accumulates after finishing college, or does it accumulate after the grace period? So this would be accumulated after the student finishes college. The grace period is in terms of the loan payments. So you would not be required to make any payments during that time. How much is the enrollment fee? So I'm assuming this is for the payment plan. Typically for the payment plan, it's $60 for the auto debit payment plan, and it's $90 for the non-auto debit payment plan. Again, this would be due once in the fall and once in the spring in order to enroll. Let's see. Let's see. We have paid for our admission fee and sign up for the orientation next month. Besides applying for outside financial aid, what else should we be doing? So once you've signed up for your orientation, the student will be able to register for their courses then. So what we would recommend is if you're utilizing any type of federal loans or if you're going to be doing a private loan, to start looking at getting those requirements done and some of the loan applications, deciding which lender you'd like to use. I would recommend giving us a call if you have any questions regarding the payment plan or how to set that up. Typically, those will be open in June, and all first year students will be receiving their pre-bills in June. So you'll be able to see an estimated statement. Then once they are actually enrolled in their courses, which will be done during orientation, you'll get your final bill. And that will come via email, like we said, because it is paperless billing statements. So another question is, how do I find my personalized fixed rate and how much will I have to pay each semester? So if you're talking about a fixed rate in regards to loans, if you're using federal student loans, right now the federal student loan fixed interest rate is 4.53%, and the Parent Plus loan is 7.08%. The new rates will be coming out in July. We don't have those as of yet. And how much you'll have to pay each semester. So if you take a look at your financial aid notification, you'll see in the right hand box how much it would be if you're dividing it by the payment plans. It also gives you options between how much you would have to pay if you're just utilizing scholarship or scholarship and loans. If you do have questions, I'd recommend you give us a call at 516-463-8000 or to schedule an appointment at the link on the screen. Let's see more questions. A great question. So, if we decide to change to commute, is my child still able to use the forts awarded by Hofstra? Absolutely. So, if your child decides to commute, you would still be getting the same scholarship or federal grants that you were offered. The only difference is you would not be charged for the room and board. You would just be charged for the tuition and fees. And if you choose to utilize a dining plan, those charges would be on there as well. For commuters, a dining plan is not required. For residential students, dining plans are required. This is a great question. So, what is the portal to pay the loan servicer directly? So, after your loans disperse, you'll be receiving a letter as well as an email notification of who your loan lender is. You'll be able to contact them directly to set up any type of payments. The loan funds will actually automatically be sent right to the school because you put Hofstra University on your FAFSA. When you do your entrance counseling and master promissory note, it solidifies that you're going to Hofstra, so they know exactly where to send those funds. But in terms of paying the loan lender, you would pay them directly to the servicer. So with a Parent Plus loan, does the interest start with the disbursement of money or when the student completes college? With the Parent Plus loan, the interest begins to accrue once the loan has dispersed. You can choose to elect to defer any type of payments of the loan until 6 months after the student graduates. You can still make payments to those loans if you choose to defer. There's no type of penalty, but the interest does accrue right away from disbursement. Let's see. Another great question. What is the um, advantage of pushing the unsubsidized federal loan if it starts accruing while the student's in school? So a lot of students do choose to use the federal unsubsidized loan because it has such a low interest rate. Private loan lenders really go by credit. So depending on what your credit is would depend on what your sort of interest rate will look like. This loan will also help the student establish and sort of build their own line of credit. But it is great because students aren't required to make any payments while they're in school. Some private loan lenders, it depends on their payment options. So if you definitely want to defer any type of payments, I would definitely recommend using your subsidized and unsubsidized student loans. However, it's not required, and you can choose to do private loans instead. If a person has received financial aid for the fall and spring, is it possible to receive any aid for summer class to prepare for a successful fall? Typically, if they are starting to enroll and accepted in for the fall semester, you would be considered um, visiting for your summer semester. So typically, visiting students wouldn't be able to utilize financial aid. However, after they are enrolled in their fall and spring semester and they want to attend in the future summer semester, the student would need to be in at least 6 credits to utilize any type of federal loans or grants. But scholarships are not applied to summer semesters as they are non traditional semesters. Let's see. A great question. Can we explain the locked in tuition? So, locked in tuition is a program that we offer where you can lock in your tuition rate for 4 years. This is applies to tuition only. This does not apply to room and board. So, if you do choose the lock in rate, the current locked in tuition rate is $52,990. That would be your tuition bill for the next 4 years, minus your scholarships, loans, and grants. Please keep in mind it's not applicable to all programs. It does not apply to the LEAP program. And we also say that this is more of a planning tool rather than a savings tool. So this way you know exactly what your tuition bill is going to be each year. A great question. Can the deposit be taken out of the financial aid award? So the deposit cannot be taken out of the financial aid award. Deposits would need to be submitted prior to your start at Hofstra, so you wouldn't be able to use financial aid for your deposit. You'd be able to submit your deposits via credit card. A great question. Where would I find the documents required for the federal loans, like the promissory note? So these aren't physical documents that we receive. These are documents that are completed online. So if your student logs into studentaid.gov with their FSA ID, they'll be able to complete the entrance counseling and a master promissory note. You are able to print out the master promissory note if you'd like. It's not required, but we get all of those notifications electronically. Once it is received by Hofstra, it'll show up as completed on the student's portal. So tuition and fees, explain what the fees are for. So there are 3 standard fees that are charged, included in your tuition bill, which is the student activity fee, technology fee, and university fee. Technology fee goes to the Pride print, which students have access to, as well as the Wi-Fi and any type of online learning institution such as Blackboard. The university fee is more of like the upkeep for the university, and the student activity fee is all the clubs, fairs, and any type of um, events on campus. So those are charged and included in your tuition bill each semester. Do we select the payment option when the student accepts online? I'm assuming that you're talking about when you make your deposit you can make online through a credit card. If you're looking to set up more of like your payment plan, you'll be able to input your payment information right now through checking account. That's not open just yet for the payment plans. That will be open in June. Where can I find exactly how much I will be paying for the semester, including grants and scholarships, but no loans? If you're looking on your financial notification that was given to your student, if you look, there's a couple of different boxes on the left-hand side. Underneath scholarship and grants box, there should be a little line that says estimated after scholarships and grants. So you'd be able to see what that estimated cost would look like. 529 plans. This is a great question. Are they exclusive for tuition or can be used for housing too? So if you're paying your tuition bill with the room and board charges and are looking to use your 529 plan, that can be applied since it's a tuition related expense if the student is living on campus. So you would be able to utilize your 529 plan. Another question that we get very often about 529 plans is how exactly does it work? I would recommend that you would request the amount from your 529 plan at least 2 weeks prior to when you'd like it submitted to the school. That way it has enough time to process from your 529 lender and come to us. Typically, it will be sent as a check. Some 529 lenders do it electronically, but again, we would advise you to allow a 2-week window so that way it has enough time to process. Lock in tuition. Can I lock price anytime after I select my classes, maybe in the spring? So the locked in tuition rate you would have to elect prior to the fall semester. So I believe you can elect to do it up until the first day of classes to elect to be in the locked in tuition rate. You can only do this in the beginning. It will not be offered during the spring semester if you've already completed the fall semester. Another question, just going over the enrollment fees again for the payment plan. So for the auto debit payment plan, it would be right now a $60 enrollment fee one time each semester. And for the non-auto debit, it would be a one-time fee in the fall and then again in the spring of $90. So this is a great question. So if tuition increases, will that also mean the student's scholarship award will increase? So scholarships do not increase from what they were awarded based on their admission. So their merit-based scholarships that they were awarded upon admission would not increase. However, there is opportunity for students to gain additional scholarships, whether through their department, if they're doing really well academically, or if there's any endowments that they might qualify for. There is potential for them to get additional scholarship. It would just be an added scholarship. It wouldn't be increased to their current scholarship that they were offered. Let's see. Um, this will be our first time in the college loan process. When we apply for a specific amount, should we also include an amount for books and supplies, or is that automatic? So it is not automatic. So you would apply for whatever, let's say the tuition is. If you want to allot for some extra expenses for your books and supplies, you can take out extra. We will certify the loan up to the student's cost of attendance. So if there is a little wiggle room, the student can use their excess loan money as sort of a refund to utilize for their books and supplies. This is not something you have to do. It's just if you'd like to do that for extra expenses. Do we have a veterans office on campus? If you are a veteran, please, I would advise you to schedule an appointment with us so we can go over if you have any certain veteran benefits. Again, our number is 516-463-8000. That way we can help. Um, A question, are there 0% loans offered? Unfortunately, not to my knowledge. Every loan at this time has a sort of interest rate. So right now, the lowest I know is the student loan of 4.53%, but at this time, they all do have an interest rate. If you sign up for the locked in tuition plan but don't end up staying at Hofstra for all 4 years, are you obligated to keep paying Hofstra? No. So if you do sign up for the locked in rate and you do decide, your student transfers or anything like that, they would not be obligated to pay the 4 years. That's just if you're enrolled. But please keep in mind, if your student does come back, you would not be able to get that locked in rate. This is a great question. Can I sign up for housing in the spring if I commute in the fall semester? You can. So if you decide after a semester of commuting that you'd like to live on campus in the fall, you'd be able to leave your housing deposit and elect to live on campus in the spring. Since there's a fee charge each semester to the people paying, like the payment plan, is there any sort of savings offered if you pay in full? Since the payment plan is interest free, it's really just the enrollment fee that you would be paying. So if you do pay in full, you just would not be paying the enrollment fees. It would just be what the tuition bill is. Based on my experience and the annual tuition in the past, does Hofstra recommend the lock-in rate? Again, the only way we recommend it is more of a planning tool rather than a savings tool. This is just so you know what your expected cost is each year. Again, it might not necessarily save, but it could even out in the end. But again, we recommend it as a planning tool. What is the average rate of increase for tuition? I would say the average rate of increase is probably around 4% each year. There any other questions? Let's see. What is the advantage of Hofstra offering the locked in tuition and fees? Again, this is just a planning tool. That way, you know what your expected cost is each year for your tuition. Um, the price will not change or increase. So, again, it's more of a planning tool. For out of state students, when will Hofstra officially announce if they will conduct um, class on campus? We are currently working on plans for our fall semester. As soon as anything has been made decisions, we will be contacting all students. As I said before, our hope is that we're really going to be here in the fall, but we're awaiting guidance right now. Does a freshman have a choice on room and board? Can they choose between the suite and the tower? I believe on their housing application, they can put their preferences of what they would like to live in, and then they would get their housing assignments later in the summer. Let's see. So can we have Zoom meetings for financial aid offers to assist us on obtaining loans for balances? If maybe a parent can't take out a Parent Plus loan, and are there lenders that are recommended? We can absolutely talk with you regarding your options. Again, please make an appointment on the link that you see so we can discuss. And in regards to lenders, we're not affiliated with any one lender, so we can't make specific recommendations. However, I do urge you to go to FinAid, FINAID.org to look up the different private education lenders. So that way you can see what their interest rates are as well as their repayment options. And the link again is actually hofstra.edu/call SFS. So again, hofstra.edu/call SFS. When do freshmen make their schedules for fall? They'll begin to make their schedules during their slotted orientation week. That's when they'll meet with their advisor and they'll get their classes for their next semester. The lock-in rate does not include room and board. It only includes tuition and fees. Let's see. Are we supposed to specify that we are going to be commuting and not dorming anywhere on the portal? Typically on your FAFSA, you let us know what the housing plans are. So that's how we determine if the student was commuting or on campus. I would recommend reaching out to us, and we can help you if you'd like to be a commuter, if you'd like to live on campus. If you'd like to live on campus, you'd be able to submit your housing deposit, fill out an application. That way we know you'd be housing. But again, you can always contact us. Since orientation was supposed to be on campus for 3 days and is now online, are we still paying the same orientation cost? So orientation, you'll still be paying your $550 deposit. However, less of it will be going towards orientation. So what will happen is usually $250 was left at the end of your deposit to go towards your tuition bill, but more will just be going towards your tuition bill in the end. How much is room and board annually? So I would say room and board is approximately 16,190 per year on average. It depends on the rooming option as well as the meal plan. Are there any additional questions? This is a great question. If we receive FAFSA funds, would that be deducted from the locked-in rate? Absolutely. It would work the same way as your regular tuition rate, except you'd be working at the locked-in rate, but we would deduct that from, so it would be your locked-in rate minus your FAFSA funds minus your scholarship, and that would be your end. What is the difference in meal plans? So meal plans is dollar for dollar. There is a commuter meal plan. The meal plan for commuters for the 2019-2020 year is currently $525 per semester. For freshman students, I believe the lowest meal plan was about $2,300 a semester, and the highest meal plan option they can choose was about $2,700. We'll have the new meal plan options shortly, which you'll be able to choose as well. So yes, I read Hofstra offers a lock-in rate for students so cost doesn't go up. That's again referring to our lock-in tuition rate that we have. You can find more information in the actual locked-in contract on our website. This again, you would be locking in your tuition for 4 years, does not apply to the LEAP program, and it's more of a planning tool rather than a savings tool. So the tuition you would be locking in is slightly higher than the current tuition rate, so it would be $52,990. Did the average room and board plan that was just articulated include a meal plan? Yes, that included the room charges as well as a meal plan charge. So we are recording this session, so we will have the link available if anybody needs to view it later. So we will have that available and we can send that out to you all. This is a great question. Do we have to redo the FAFSA if our student is a male who turned 18? Does he have to, or does he separately register for selective service? So there was an option on the FAFSA that you could select that if that they would register your student automatically once they turn 18. If not, the student can register for selective service right online, and they would just register there, and they can always send us the documentation so that way we can process it. If a student does not use all of their meal plan money, is it refunded? So the any unused dining points at the end of the fall semester, as long as you have the same meal plan or a higher amount of meal plan for the spring semester, your unused dining points will roll. However, meal plan points do not roll from year to year. So anything at the end of the spring semester, if there are any unused dining points, they will be forfeited. How will I know who my financial aid counselor is so I can contact them to help with the process? Um, all students will be assigned. It's typically by territory. You can see that on our Hofstra website /SFS Find My Counselor, or you can always give us a call 516-463-8000, and any of us will be happy to help. And should the authorization form be done before or after accepting the federal loans? We recommend you can accepting them first and then completing the entrance counseling and master promissory note, just so you know that you've accepted the funds. I find if students just do the entrance counseling and master promissory note and don't accept their loan, they kind of forget to. So I always recommend them to accept it first. Are there any other questions? All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this was helpful. Again, please set up an appointment to hofstra.edu/SFS, call SFS, or give us a call 516-463-8000, and we would be happy to assist. So thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great day.